dance floor. Throw your hands up, everyone. Shake the sense that's killing you. Fancy footwork just like me. Take it over this dance floor. Enjoy your life. Be free and light. Enjoy your life. Have some fun and enjoy.
Boom. Coming up on Mental Health Marty, we are talking about May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we want to talk about childhood mental health. Stay tuned. You'll be glad you did. What's up, everybody? How you feeling? How you doing? How your mama doing? We are in springtime, and it's been a wonderful day here in Southern California. But yes, it's me, Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist, coming to you live and in living color right here in Southern California, where the sun is always shining. You on YouTube and IG, listen, go check us out and go over to the YouTube channel, Mental Health Marty, so you can get all of that. So those of you who are watching us live, listen, invite some people in the room. Yes, because we want to see you. Yes, how you doing? Yes, what's up, my man? Yes, from Michigan, about to be a DC resident. I'm Jeff. So good to see you. Thank you for always supporting us out here. Let me remind you what we do here on the Mental Health Marty Show. What do? We want to remind you that the Mental Health Marty Show is intended for educational purposes and educational purposes only. We are a supplement to your mental health journey. Now, listen, we are not a replacement for your therapist. We are not a replacement for your doctor. We're not a replacement for your psychiatrist, but we are a supplement, and we are a part of your treatment plan. So with that being said, if you're experiencing any type of crisis or medical emergency, please go see your nearest doctor and go to your nearest urgent care. But other than that, stay tuned because we got a great show lined up for you. Listen, on IG, we will check you out later. Have a good one, y'all. And then what we want to do also, listen, we want, how do you like and subscribe, and how do you see us on a regular basis? We are exclusively on YouTube at this point. And we want you, how do you do it? Go to the YouTube channel, Mental Health Marty, and subscribe to that. And hit the notification so that every time we go live, you will be notified of a show when it comes on. I got someone creeping in here. Say hi, Tony. My daughter's kind of creeping in, and it's so perfect because we're talking about mental health and children today. So wave. Don't knock down my step and repeat, please. So I always have a co-host here, and she's my co-host. Yes, this child of mine, gotta love her. But listen, we want to talk. Yes, Tanya, how are you? Thank you for always being amazing supporter of this show. We love you, dear. Tonight we have a great opportunity. Wonderful. And those of you who are joining us on Black Men Made Well, glad to have you there. We have a wonderful opportunity. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we also want to make sure that you are equipped with the right tools so that you can be successful in this mental health journey. And we want to help you navigate. But today, the topic is help. My child has a diagnosis. Now what? Many of us are very much afraid of various children and mental health diagnoses by children. One, because we don't understand them. Two, because most of our kids are overdiagnosed and over-medicated. What does that mean? We want to give you the tools necessary for you to be successful in this navigation. I was looking at some statistics, y'all. Yes, I appreciate that, Tanya. You know, since COVID has started, COVID has really brought mental health childhood emergencies, and we need to look at that. Between March and October of 2020, mental health emergencies increased by 24% for youth between the ages of 5 and 11. Hello, Cynthia. And then it increased 31% between the ages of 12 and 17. And when we're comparing that to the year prior in 2019. And also, listen to that. This is staggering. This is what stood out to me. There were a 50% increase in suspected suicide attempts among girls between the ages of 12 and 17 in 29 then when COVID hit. As opposed into the preceding year with that. So what does that tell us? We have some work to do when it comes to our mental health of our children, our mental health of ourselves, especially as the pandemic has truly affected each and every one of us. The pandemic has taken our mental health diagnosis or even our mental health worries, because let's be honest, we all experience some type of a mental health challenges at one point of time in our lives. And with that, you are just really all over the place, aren't you? And with that, we have to see COVID has made it complicated. So if you already had anxiety, now you have complicated anxiety. If you already were having grief, you have complicated grief. You have complicated depression. You have complicated PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's what we want to talk about some on tonight, and childhood diagnosis. You are just going to be in the shot with me tonight. Okay, if we're going to do that, let's turn around. Wave to the camera, Neve. I am so glad to bring on with us. She is not a stranger to the Mental Health Matters with Marty show. In fact, she has a book, and we are so proud of her with this book. If you have not ordered this book, we want you to order her book. Go on Amazon and get it. ADHD is My Superpower, and it comes with great strength. Welcome back to the Mental Health Marty show, none other than therapist herself, Alana Moore. Hey, Alana.
How are you?
I got my sidekick with me tonight.
Listen,
where's your sidekick at?
He's playing games right now. He's occupied.
Oh, he's occupied. I thought this one was occupied, and she was creeping underneath the table at me. But how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Yes. You know, I cannot complain. I cannot complain. And can I say this? I am so thrilled. Can you tell everyone where your new employment is at?
I'm now working at Marcel Consulting. I'm the new therapist.
Yes. And
It's
on her
awesome.
way. Listen, we love having you. Oh my God, this is like a dream come true, because I've known you since you were how old? Oh my God, don't tell anyone, because that dates me, not you.
I know. I was like born. My mom to tell me what I knew.
Just about.
Yeah,
And so,
very young.
you know, what a thrill to have you work for the organization. And I just love what you do. So for those who may not know who you are, Alana, introduce yourself and tell us, of course, you work for Marcel, but your passion and this amazing book that you wrote. I read it to Tony all the time.
Oh, I love that. Well, my name is Alana, and I know it says AMFT, but I'm a associated professional clinical counselor. So I'm
Yeah. Oh,
excited. Yeah, it's
yes.
okay. I'm excited to. I have a huge passion for holding a space for people, working with people of
Yes.
all different ages, different mental
Right.
health diagnosis. I love just like working with people.
Yes.
And my own son was diagnosed with ADHD at 3 years old, and so that's what
Hmm.
sparked me wanting to write a book to showcase the
Wow.
positive qualities in it. So
Yes.
that's where the book came from.
I love it. I love it because too often, I shared this earlier, we have misconceptions. We want to put ADHD as a bad label. And I love what you did. You go through this and you talk about how ADHD is my superpower. Why should we look at ADHD differently as a superpower and not as a deficit or a distraction to who children really are?
Because ADHD is not just maladaptive behavior. It's not, I think people think of ADHD as
Yes.
just hyperactivity or just problematic behavior. But
Right.
ADHD, and I don't really like the word deficit because it's really an attention on a lot of different things. I always say that.
Yes.
So I don't really necessarily think it's
Yes.
a deficit, but there's so many positive qualities about
Mm-hmm.
people whose minds, work in that way. There's so much creativity.
Right.
There's so much
Right.
honesty that they have. They're so imaginative.
Yes.
They're just awesome.
Yes.
And so I didn't want my son to go through school with this, oh, he's always hyper, he's always in trouble, and then him associate those behaviors with ADHD when ADHD
Thank
has so
you.
much more about it. What about the creativity? What
Yes.
about
Yes.
the help?
Yes.
What about the strong work ethic? So
Yes.
I wanted to highlight those so he can just reframing it, positively reframing.
I love it.
some
I
of the things
love
that are
it.
said in
Your
ADHD.
therapist kicked in. We're reframing those because I
Yeah.
love that you talk about that it's a super strength of being hyper focused. You talk about how it's a super strength of being creative. Yes, Tanya Hill says congratulations, great on the book. Yes, it's a super strength of a bright personality. See, these are all the positive things of what ADHD can definitely give to our the super strength of fairness and kindness. I love how you break it down. You said the super strength of responsibility. You flipped what we have taken. I love this. The super strength of persistence. That
Yes.
is so amazing, brother Purnell. How you feeling, my man? The super strength of compassion. Yo, you got to go on Amazon and pick this up. The super strength of appreciation. This is so amazing. And I love that you have poured that into your son and that your son knows my mother loves me so much that she has written a book about me and for me. And what a difference that's going to make. Again, Alana, love
Thank
it,
you.
love it, love it, love it. And applause to you as well. And it's also Women's Health Month, but I know we're talking, but I just want to appreciate you for pouring into the health of young girls and young boys, everywhere, so that they know their ADHD is a superpower and not a weakness. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I want to bring now to the stage, if you will. This is his first time on the Mental Health Marty show. Trust me, it will not be his last. I'm trying to grow up and be like these two young people. It's terrible when your mentees are supposed to outgrow the mentors. And I'm claiming him as my new younger brother. And Alana's like my other daughter in that regards. And I love it because these two young people are so sharp and bright. I just want to do a mind merge and get all the knowledge that they have. But please welcome to the show none other than Mr. Gage Henderson. Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Man,
Yes,
glad
yes.
to have you. Yes.
I'm glad to be here. I'm great. I'm great,
Well,
man.
thank you. Listen, this is your first time on the show. Listen, talk to us about who you are, what you do, and why you got into this thing called mental health as a Black man. Because there's not a lot of us in this field.
At all. It's interesting you say that because one of my first supervisors, she's a Black female therapist. She looked at me and she was like, you're a unicorn. I stopped. I said, what does that even mean? And now as I'm this far into my career, I'm understanding, really being a unicorn in mental health is having the ability to touch a certain group and population of people that otherwise wouldn't be touched. Especially being a Black male in this field. But anyways, to introduce myself a little bit more, I'm Gage Henderson. I am a registered associate marriage and family therapist. I have completed my clinical hours, so I just need to pass my test and we are good to go. What got me into this field was interesting. I actually wasn't supposed to be a therapist.
Really?
My goal was to go into policing. So I was.
This is such a better field and safer.
Incredibly safer. So I was supposed to go into policing, and just by my honesty, integrity, I ended up getting
Right.
denied for a couple of the agencies that I was going towards. And, I was told, just come back in 2 to 3 years and you'll be good. You'll be a shoo-in. And I'm
Right.
not a waster of time, so I took those
Love
2-3
that.
years and got my master's. And now I'm
Yes.
here as a therapist, and I'm loving it. The reason
Yes.
policing was something big for me is because I watched my the product of gang members, right? My dad, his entire side of the family were former gang members, and I saw my dad.
Okay.
He wasn't able to be the man that he could be because of trauma.
Yes.
And once I got old enough to realize it, I understood it's not him. He's traumatized.
Wow.
Right, so
Okay,
if
Gage,
we
you
can
come
go-
in here.
All right, I came in hot. My bad.
No. You come in here. He came in here and just dropped them up. Bam! And just go ahead. But I love it. Let's continue down that road because you're right. A lot of times we look at the person, and I'm a believer that we're shaped by both nature and nurture. In that regards, because and what I'm hearing you say, too many of us, and I'm going to say this for Black men and those of us in traumatic situations, we desire to do something different, but our environment a lot of times forces us, or we don't have the strength or capacity or wherewithal to break past it. Talk to us some more. I like that you were saying it wasn't your father. Continue from that statement again.
Yeah. And I like your aspect of nature versus nurture, right? It's not either or, it's both and. So
yes.
So what were your parents like? And then I start to hear more about my grandfather. My grandfather wasn't faithful to my grandmother. So my dad's growing up, he's watching this and learning this, therefore he can't be faithful to my mom, right? So probably some nature aspect and who he is. I know one of the biggest nature things that I'm having to work on is I know the Henderson side of me, we have tempers, but I have to understand that that's what's innate in me. Now the nurture aspect was him not having a dad that was caring and providing for him seeking nurturance in the hood and being around another group of people, and that just led to experiences that can't be undone. Right. So
I love that.
Go ahead.
No, you go on. I'm just agreeing with you.
So it's when you have these experiences and they can't be undone, what you're really doing your whole life is playing catch up, especially as bad as these experiences are. And when we look at the nature of being a Black man or being a Black person in America, generational trauma is a whole nother facet. So now you have generational trauma, have immediate personal trauma, and it's just laying and caking on until there comes a generation that says stop.
Yes.
Right? Which is why I love
that generation.
Exactly. Because now you're saying, help, my child has a diagnosis. Now what?
Right.
Now I'm taking what I learned and what I've seen, and I'm catching it. I'm not going to let it go past this. I'm not going to let it go farther. Right. I'm doing what Alana said so well. I'm reframing it. I didn't realize a lot, and I'm so glad you mentioned it until I became a clinician. I'm like, why is it so hard for me to pay attention, focus, to sit still, to do one thing at a time? Well, most of us young Black people, we don't believe in mental health, so we don't even don't speak that over yourself.
Right.
You better go. You better pay attention. What do you mean you gotta see?
Right.
What do you mean you talking in class? Not understanding these are symptoms of something. So once I understood it, then I was like, okay, now I got the responsibility to do something about it.
Right.
Let me go right here with you too, because and Alana, please jump in here, because if we are experienced, if we're in a traumatic situation, and some of our, if we go back to Maslow, basic needs are not being met. And we have this diagnosis, which I believe the diagnosis, because basic needs are not being met, and some of the basic needs are safety, shelter, food, these type of things. If our basic needs are not being met, and you have that diagnosis, and part of the diagnosis is because some of the basic needs are not being met, and part of the basic needs not being met, it definitely hinders and aids to. So it's they feed into each other. So with that being said, how can I concentrate if I'm hungry? How can I concentrate and focus if I came to school and I saw my parents fighting? And I don't know, or even if we're going into we live in Southern California. I remember there was a time when ICE was out, and so the Hispanic community dropping their kids off at school, the ICE is now taking and snatching the kid, the parents rather, in front of the kid, now shipping them back to Mexico. So how can a kid concentrate? So yes, they're going to be attention deficit. Wouldn't even have that. Yes, they're going to be oppositional. Alana, talk to us about some of this as we're reframing and exploring some of the causes of some of the diagnoses that our children have.
Yeah, so you're definitely right. Trauma can exacerbate the symptoms of diagnosis that's already there. So something like, for example, ADHD or oppositional defiant disorder is just exacerbated. Yes. And what people don't realize is even with diagnosis is like ADHD, hunger is already externalized, and they're like when they're hungry, they already show it in their behavior, and they do act out. But imagine if they're that way daily, or they're restless because they don't get a lot of sleep, and then they go to school the next day and then they're acting quote unquote acting out, and so
listen, you don't feed me, I'm gonna be hangry too. Because I know how I am in that office, and I'm hungry. So I can only imagine the kid.
It just exacerbates the symptoms of what these children already have. But there are some other things that can cause some of these, or be, I guess,
talk to us.
Precursors to some of these disorders, like borderline personality disorder, being exposed to child abuse, being exposed to domestic violence, right? You can go and start to have symptoms where there is strong reactivity, but being so exposed to just exacerbates the symptoms of what people already have, and what it looks like to the teachers, right? Or what it looks like to school professionals is, this child is just, they don't want to listen, they're just acting out. No, they need something. There's a need there. They need attention. They need stability.
Yes.
They need to process their emotions. So, it's just exacerbated, and it's just so misdiagnosed and seen the wrong way. I've been there, done that, and went through it.
Well, and if I may,
go ahead, Gage.
The need is there, but the desire of the helping professional at the time isn't. Right? It's like reminding yourself what got you in this field.
Say that one more time. Yes.
The need is there, but the desire to help of the professional isn't. Yeah. So we can go back and forth all day, but you have to be able, you got to have someone on the other side of that kid that is wanting to get onto their level and say, let me hear you, let me see you, and let me feel you.
Come on.
Right? And that's where a lot of our kids, especially I think our kids of color, because they're difficult and they're taking my time away, and they're yeah, but you're not understanding that this kid is going to go home later today. And actually what he did, he took 2 hours to get home because he knows as soon as he gets there, he's going to have to watch his mom get beat.
Yes.
But we're not allowing ourselves to be a little bit more empathic to receive that child in a way where we're resolving the root issues. I love what you said. There's a need there, Alana. Yes.
And that's why, and y'all, I'm so glad, y'all. I told y'all we got the bomb therapists on here tonight. These young people, and I'm always encouraging young people. Listen, we need more competent people, such as Alana, such as Gage, that can meet us, who have passions. I tell y'all, jump in the psychology field. Jump in the we need more social workers who understand our cultural competency is so key and understanding, so that I remember the first time I used to do wraparound, y'all, when I walked into some of the youth's home, and I was a behavioral specialist. So I definitely, for those who may not know, so my job was working with teenagers, specifically teenage boys. I'm too old to do that now. So I'm just letting y'all know, don't call me, call Gage. I got too much gray in my beard to deal with that. But I remember walking into some homes and they were like, oh my God, finally someone who will understand us and understand what we're going through, or at least be empathetic to it. And that makes a whole huge difference, because now we're able to build trust. Once you build trust, you can get to the root of the problems and address it in a way that yes, we're being firm, but we're trying to help and not hinder. That makes the biggest difference in the world. It really does. It really. Let's talk about, since we're talking about ADHD, Alana, you have mentioned oppositional defiant disorder, ODD. Listen, they said Alana for president. I know that's right. Go ahead. I told you she's tough. I love her. Yes. But when we're talking about oppositional disorder, when we're talking about conduct disorder, I remember I walked into Build Trust First. Yes. Portia, hello, darling. How are you? That's my girl. That's John Henry Scott's wife, Portia Scott. So hello, darling. But what we have to do, I remember walking into the home of this 16-year-old young black boy, and he says, what, you just gonna call me opposition like everyone else? And he was just going off on me, and I said, no, you're not oppositional, you're depressed. And he just cried, after that, because for a lot of us, especially, let's look at what we tell young boys in the message with: shut up, man up, don't show emotion, don't be a punk. Because in black culture, if a man is too soft, then that's a problem. So we've learned how to put things up. Let's say that this was a struggle for my son. Diagnosis. Oh, thank you, Cynthia. But no assistance. He was labeled a bad child. He tested gifted. See, but he was never child. Gage, talk to us about that. Talk, because I saw.
I'm sorry. This triggered me. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Backgrounds coming from working in group homes. Right. We had so many kids that would come in with an IEP, a 504 plan, whatever, which is emotionally disturbed, ADHD, other health impairment, which is just, what does that mean? Right. Let's put some language to this. Let's put a little bit more thought to this.
Yes.
And then what happens is you take these group of kids who are really gifted, really smart, really intelligent. I mean, I know it may be impairment but for a 15-year-old kid to run a major drug corporation,
come on,
there has to be some strengths there that we can work with. But you took this kid and you put him in an isolated class with packet work. What is that going to do? Well, he's wasting his time, and he knows he's wasting his time. So I'm spending 8 hours.
I love it.
So I'm spending 8 hours in school doing packet work when I could be using this 8 hours to go make 10 G's. You're tripping.
Yes. Yeah, come on.
So, and that's what happens to our kids, is that we want to take them in like they have ADHD, so we're going to put them over here. Well, let's teach them about that ADHD. This is what ADHD is. This is how you can use it. This is how you can frame some of those things.
Yes.
Right? If you can do multiple tasks at the same time and you can't stay focused, how about instead of giving this kid one task, give him 2 to do at the same time, and watch that kid excel.
I give him 5. Right. Because their brain is just going at, like Alana says, they're super creative. Alana, talk to us about that creativity that is often ignored with children who are ADHD, and then they get mislabeled. and misdiagnosed into oppositional and conduct. Then we're just going to briefly talk about then if they're mislabeled, then they're given wrong medication. Woo, that's a whole nother thing.
Exactly. Sorry, it froze for me for a little bit, but
right.
exactly, they are, and I with ADHD specifically, a lot of times if the child is idle, if you're leaving them idle and there's no structure, then of course a child with ADHD who has a lot of different things on his mind and wants to know, what am I going to get into? What can I, they're going to try to find something. Why don't you give
They will
them
find something.
They will find something. So
they
it's like
find
something productive to
yes.
do. But people don't understand that. They just say, I don't want you in my class. I don't want you over. They're dismissed. And so they know that they're being dismissed. So they're like, well, you don't want me in your class anyway. I'm going to do what I want to do. Instead of you giving me something productive and you building my strengths, you're just dismissing me and telling me that you have no need for me,
Yes. Thank you for these comments. This is a reality of many schools. And then Cynthia talked about she had to fight the district for 5 years. And see, what a lot of people don't realize, you go to the district, and as soon as you place that request in, they have 30 days to get that evaluation in. And if they don't, they are now out of compliance, which then opens them up to a lawsuit. See, what happens is a lot of us don't know our rights and what we have. And so we're operating like Cynthia. Cynthia, I applaud you for not giving up, because a lot of us after 5 days or 5 months would have been frustrated and given up. But you kept pressing because you knew the value of your son. And then challenge the IEP. Challenge who's giving the IEP. Challenge, say, hey, I know you got a person in here who's a psychologist, and don't be afraid by that term. A psychologist is a fancy PhD for folks who can give. For folks who can give higher level assessments than what we can. I wasn't gonna pay $100,000 just to make $10,000 more. If I'm gonna pay that much money for school, I need to make at least $100,000 more. Now that's why I said I don't need that one. But I appreciate psychologists. I really do, and we need psychologists. But listen, if you are in need of a psychologist, give us a call. I got in my Rolodex about 5 Black male and female psychologists who understand our children and who want to work with our children, because you need that to understand how to navigate through the educational system. And we do not take no as an answer. I see you both, Gage and Alana. Gage, jump in there, and then Alana, come on back and follow through.
And what you're touching on is the biggest key. I think this solves the answer. Now yes. What? Now find a competent helping professional. Don't just go to anyone because it's easy, because this is taking too long, because this is what I can. Your child's health care and their livelihood, that's an investment. So if we can make investments in houses, we can get equity in that. We can do Bitcoin and all these. You can do that for your child, because the problem is that you get these helping professionals who are looking at an IEP and say, this is going to cost us how much? Okay, you're looking at your cost. I'm looking at the years my child has to have right now. I've heard of another social worker look a Black dad, and I'm providing therapy for this man. Look a Black dad in the face and say, if you just sign away your rights, she won't go after child support.
Wow.
So are you telling me your understanding of Black fathers is that we don't want to pay child support?
See, you're going to hold that's part 2.
Yeah, but that's where, if I have someone who cares, if I have someone who helps, that won't even be an issue. The thing is, you see what the child needs, and now you're going to help set them up in providing that need.
Exactly.
Yes. Alana, you were talking about, and then Daryl, we're going to go back to that question for Kimberly, because we want to give her some help. Go ahead, Alana.
Well, I was just going to kind of get into that with, because I have a personal story of going through it with the district. So please. I want to help a few folks out. So my son, long story short, when he was 4, he was in traditional kindergarten, and around maybe 3 or 4 months in school, he started to display different behavior, and like basically like walking around the classroom, just really what they said was very disruptive, and even said was aggressive or threatening, which I don't know how that could have been at 4, but anyway, so I called the meeting because I'm like, we need to do something about it. And I was an education major, so I'm like, I know we're calling a meeting. I want to talk. I want to talk to the staff, and I want to see what can we do about this. So
call the meeting.
They first said, they really tried to say, well, let's suspend him. He needs a special education classroom. I said he absolutely does not. So they were suspending him and saying, well, he doesn't need an IEP. So I'm like, but how does he not need an IEP, but you're going to move him to a special education classroom? That doesn't make any sense. So the principal kept saying, no, he doesn't need an IEP, because what they wanted to do was suspend him so much that he was expelled from the district. I'm like, you just don't want my child in your district, and that's not happening. Right. So what I did was I consulted with a special education attorney. It was free. Yes. And I consulted with her, and she told me go to the special education director in the district, which I did, who then kept the principal accountable. So at our next meeting, she said, why hasn't this IEP process started? Why hasn't there been any testing done? Why is he keep getting suspended? And I'm like, so then, because I also told them, I have an attorney, I have support. His family kept going to the school, like my dad, my mom, just supporting. His dad was very involved because they saw family support. She's educated. She has an attorney. And then they're like, oh man, okay, we'll put him through the process. We gotta get this together. Finally got an IEP. He finally got an IEP, finally got one, but really they were trying to push him out, and it was so frustrating because that was their intent. But go to everybody that you can in the district, because what they want you to do is just throw up your hands and say, okay, we'll quit. Yes. Okay, we'll get out of the district. And that's absolutely not going to be the case.
So, Kimberly, I hope we were able to. Where can parents find resources to understand our rights within the educational system? That is absolutely excellent. I would say start with your school district there, first and foremost. Every child has a right to an education. They cannot. Let me say that again. They cannot be denied. Start with your school district. Go skip the school principal, skip all of that. Go straight to the district. Ask for what are their special education, or what are their procedures for getting an IEP. What are my rights as a parent when I'm fighting for my child? Again, if you need some support with that, please reach out to us at marcelconsulting.com. We'll have the information at the end for you. We will put that up, and we will help you out and navigate through that. They cannot deny you those rights whatsoever. You can call your insurance company if you have insurance and ask them, hey, I need a referral. If you get your own private stuff, start off with your therapist and ask the therapist to make a referral to the psychologist if you're able to run through your insurance, and then you can get that as well. Or you can do private as well. Private gets a little bit more expensive because when you're talking about psychologists, you're looking at a minimum of about $250 to $300 an hour, up to $500 to $600 an hour with that. But there are definitely some scholarships and some other things that can definitely help. But if in doubt, look up Steps to an IEP online as well. There's plenty of information out there, but start there at your district because there's so many special education out here in San Bernardino County. It's SELPA. I forget what that stands for, but there's so many things that happens because my daughter also has an IEP. Just because of the situation she was born in. And she loves the extra attention that she gets. And let me tell you, she is reading like crazy. Y'all didn't tell me that they have sight words in kindergarten. I'm old. We didn't have sight words in kindergarten. They reading in kindergarten. Lord, y'all didn't tell me. No, Alana, thank you. It's such impertinent information. Uh, Gage, I'm going to go here. What are some common things would you say when we're looking at some of these childhood symptoms, especially during the pandemic? What are some things that parents can look for in the difference of behavior, maybe that their kid is displaying, that they might need to seek some professional support?
Yeah, I mean, well, when it comes to behaviors being displayed, it's really
Mm-hmm.
anything that's causing some sort of rupture in the family
Mm-hmm.
dynamic, right? Some sort of rupture in their
Yes.
engagement. So I
Yes.
think, a lot of times us as parents, we don't really get on the ball until it becomes a huge issue and there's a huge
Yes.
outburst. But I would say something more to look at the minor details is my child isolating themselves now?
That's
Right? That's
good.
one.
That's
Are you
good.
isolating yourself? Is my child more irritable? Are they talking
That's
back a little
good.
bit more? Um,
That's good.
were there things that and this is all depressive symptoms, were there things that they used to
Yes.
do that they're not
That
doing
they're not
anymore?
doing.
That they
Mm-hmm.
used to go out and
Mm-hmm.
ride their bike. They used to go out with friends. They used to have a lot of fun. Now they
Yes.
don't hang out or talk to anyone. They used to play
Yes.
and I think another thing too is like we see our kids and we get them the Fortnites and the Call of Duties and everything, and they're just playing video games for hours and hours, and we think, oh, they're fine. They're just attached to their video game. Well, what is the quality spent on that video game? Right? Are they socializing with their friends, or are they
Yes.
kind
That's
of just
good, Gage.
mind-numbingly playing for hours at a time? Because then what that kid is
Yes.
starting to do, they're really starting to dissociate. And now we're
Yes.
saying, what is it? What are they running from? What are the things that they're not doing? And we got to
That's
be a
good,
little bit
Gage.
more attentive to that. I think the hardest part, though, with our teenagers is getting them bought into the idea now of how do you get them to therapy.
Yes.
Because the one thing I
That's
noticed, we
good.
have a teenager, and we brought up COVID. Once COVID happened, she went through a
Yes.
period of just it seemed like her whole personality just died, and we didn't know what
Mm-hmm.
happened. We're like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. She's not acting how she used to be. She's not exciting. She's not what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't realize, and I'm a
Mm-hmm.
therapist. I didn't realize she was grieving.
Yes.
Her
Yes.
she lost her friends, she lost school,
Yes.
she had to go through her first year of high school on Zoom.
Zoom.
That's a grief process. So now
It
when we
is.
can see that something changed, now we have to join with them and say, hey, we understand that you may be going through some things. How can we
That's good,
help you?
Gage.
Right.
That's
Right. And
good.
then now you give the child back the voice and choice where she was able to say, I think I would want to go to therapy. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get you into therapy.
Yes.
And like that. I mean, well, I don't want to say like that. Let's
Yes.
be real. It's a process, right? For all of us,
Right.
But
And I think, Gage, you told. Go ahead.
I was just saying what it is it's enjoying and embracing the process. I see my child needs
Yes.
help. I'm intervening. I'm going to get them help, and I'm going to walk with them as they get this help. Whatever they go through,
Yeah.
we're in it together.
That's right, and taking the fear of therapy out. This is really good information. Watch for the signs and triggers, Cynthia. You got to watch for the signs and triggers, and even with some of our younger children, Alana, what are some of the maybe behaviors that we have to look for in some of the younger children that might be elementary age or younger?
Yeah, so some similar things is definitely the isolation, the
Mm-hmm.
acting out, the like increased
Yes.
defiance. And again, a lot of
Yes.
parents or school personnel see increased defiance as, oh, you're just, like you're just
Being
being difficult.
rebellious.
But you're
Yeah.
being rebellious. But it's like, why though? Like what do the like
Mm-hmm.
if you saw a strong increase in this, what is it? Sometimes with younger children, you'll see separation anxiety too. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want they don't want to leave your side, or they'll ask us to
Yes.
the parents, can I sleep with you tonight? Can I sleep with you?
Yeah,
What
that's
is it?
good.
I don't want to be on their own. What is it? So you'll
Mm-hmm.
notice some of that, or even some emotional ups and downs. Like 1 minute the child is laughing, the next minute the child is crying, and it's like, okay, I'm
That's
seeing
good.
these shifts that I have not seen before, and so
Mm-hmm.
those usually are things that manifest in younger children that, again, parents might see as just, oh, they're just being defiant. I don't know why they're being weird, or they lost their taste for these certain foods. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, but it's like,
Yeah.
no, that's something to explore. Why aren't they eating as much? Why aren't they
Yeah.
touching?
That's
Why
so
aren't they
true.
not spending as much time with you? Why are, just different things like that.
And you
And then
triggered a
even
thought
with
in me, Lana.
go
It's
ahead,
saying
Gage.
that when you say why, it's what function is this behavior serving?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like my child wants to be alone now. What are they gaining from being alone? Right? My
Mm-hmm.
child wants to
Mm-hmm.
spend more time on their phone. What are they gaining
Mm-hmm.
from being on their
Mm-hmm.
phone and TikTok and all these social? Right? Let me be curious and be interested in what is this doing and serving for my child. So now I can make
Mhm.
appropriate redirections. Right? My child doesn't want to be away from me.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Every time I take or they
Yeah.
don't want to go to a certain person. Okay, instead of, hey,
Yes.
go give Uncle so and so a hug. Hold on, let's check Uncle so and
Absolutely.
so because they don't feel comfortable with Uncle so and so.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boundaries.
Come on. You see
Mhm.
y'all going down another street. Yeah, that's good. That's good. We have to listen. Yes, yes. They were like,
Hmm.
they. But even if they revert back to some younger behaviors that are
Right.
not
Hmm.
appropriate, even we got to look at bedwetting.
And wedding.
um,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
that's huge. We got to look
Yeah.
at these type of things. So what we're sharing with you parents is this: look for changes of behaviors that become now a pattern that is not that does not in line with who your child is. And looking at that and having open conversations, just like Gage said. Hey, we've noticed this about you. Can we talk about it? And even I have the wraparound approach, y'all. I always say the best time to talk about some difficult things is around some pizza, some fried chicken, some cupcakes, some cookies, ice cream. Because feed me, just feed me, and I'm gonna tell you all my business, everything. but
I'm gonna
because
go
food
ahead and
is
write
such a
that down.
it works at the office too, but food is such a common denominator. It's a healing. That's why we talk about soul food so much, because not only does it come from the soul, there's a difference about the gathering when you're eating together, that you have this opportunity to share. So I can say, hey, Alana, how was your day? What are you going through? Gage, hey, tell me about what your day was like. And I saw you got this award. Tell me about that. How did you feel? I'm so proud of you. So now we have this connection, so what we can do that. Yes, comfort food, baby. That's right, Cynthia. I could use me some greens, and yes, I had wings and waffle on Sunday for Mother's Day, and that touched my soul. Yes, it did.
And
This has
Marty,
been so. Mhm.
sorry,
Go
I was
ahead,
going to say, can I say something about how
please.
also how parents can support? I
Yes.
just I was just thinking about a client that I had where the daughter, it was a family session, and the daughter was expressing, that she
Mm-hmm.
was going through a lot of depression. She had suicidal thoughts and different things like that, and the mom's response was so indifferent, and she's like, well, I don't understand
Hmm.
why she would be doing this when she has a good life. But the
Yeah.
root of that was the mom is so disconnected from, like, she disassociated from her trauma so much
Yes.
that she didn't even want
Yes.
to tune into emotions. So now when your child is expressing them, you're like so uncomfortable with it, and not, you
Yeah.
don't know how to space for it. So I would say to parents too, to really check on
That's
yourself,
good.
are
Yes.
there things that you still have to process? How comfortable are you with talking to your children about some of these deeper rooted issues or some of their traumas, And so I think
Yes.
parents get comfortable with that for themselves to be able to hold the space for their children.
Yeah,
Yes.
very
And,
good.
and, and Cynthia and anyone else listening, listen, you have two experts right here, Alana and Gage. And we encourage you, listen, you can reach out to us. They would definitely love to take you on. Even we do even inquiries. You don't have to just commit to us or what have you. If you, we will do a consultation because we want to be here to help our communities and people who are secretly suffering in silence. And that's what we don't want to continue to happen. And so, yes, we have to make money, but no, we're not in it to try to make money off of your back. But we want to make sure if you're healthy and strong, and let's take away this stigma with that. Wow. Can you look, y'all, our time is almost up. I can't believe this. It goes by so fast when we're talking about a topic that we love talking about. You guys got to come back. We got to continue this conversation. We're going to get another time sometime coming up soon and do that. But Alana, talk to us your parting words of wisdom for parents and how to identify when their child needs help, and how can we get a hold of you?
Yes. Again, parting words is really, I know sometimes there's some pride there. I don't want to know that my
Mhm.
child has, I don't want I don't want to accept that my child might have
Mhm.
something wrong. And it's kind of like avoiding going to
Right.
the doctor so much that the symptoms get worse and worse. And then by the time you have to go and fix it, you need a bigger operation. I would say,
Yes.
I want to tackle this right now. Please get the help for your child and get the help for yourself, because it is so freeing.
Yes.
And it'll be so, so, so important for your family dynamic and breaking those negative generational patterns. And where you can find me is, my Instagram is at No More Chains. Sorry, it's kind of hard.
Come
No
on.
More Chains. More with two O's. And so I have a business page on Facebook called ADHD Is My Superpower. If you guys want to check out the book, so it has a link to the book there, and so does my Instagram. So that's where you guys can
Yes.
find it.
Love that, love that, love that. And Daryl, can you show us that book so they can get it one more time in case you joined us late? This is by Alana. ADHD is my superpower. It comes with great super strengths. By right here by the author herself, Alana Moore. We definitely want you to get that. If you don't have, let's support Black-owned businesses. Let's support great writers such as Alana. Alana, now I kind of heard from the grapevine, being you, that you're working on your next book. Am I right?
I am. It's my personal story. So I'm excited. I'm writing about myself, so I'm also kind of going through healing while I'm writing. So
Come
yeah,
on. Come on. You
expect
better do some self
me.
reflection. Yes. I've done that before. I did mine in the form of a play. Good God. But that's a whole nother
Wow.
story.
Remember.
Alana, I can't thank you enough. You keep doing amazing work. And yes, these two amazing people work for Marcel Consulting. Gage, parting words, and how can we follow and get a hold of you?
Yeah. So my parting words would be, for all parents is that you have an opportunity, a beautiful opportunity, and each day
Mm-hmm.
is one. So each day that opportunity is not used, it's an opportunity wasted. I will say that
Wow.
you have to be mindful. The question is, do you want your past to define their future? If the answer
Wow.
is yes, keep doing what you're doing. If the answer is no, then use those opportunities to create a different future
Wow.
for your children, a different outlook at what you would have wanted for yourself,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that's
And
good.
where to find me? I'm on Instagram only right now at the Helping Henderson. So that's the Helping Henderson, one word. I got a couple things in store. I'm not gonna lie,
Okay.
Alana's book completely and inspired me and encouraged me. I was in my prayer time with the Lord, and I said, "Oh, Lord, what do you want me
Come
to do?"
on.
He gave me one book, and then he gave me two more, and I'm like, "You need to slow down. Let me just get one first." So, Alana, I just want to
You
thank
got a
you
publisher
so
yet?
much. I got someone who knows someone who publishes. So
Okay,
we'll be
I got
talking,
someone who's
Marty.
local for you. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That knows someone that
So
knows
what's
someone that
this?
knows someone. Yes, love it. Love.
Yeah.
Can we get a sneak title preview?
A sneak title preview. Oh my gosh. Not yet.
Okay.
There's some things I know about the Lord, and when He refines in dark, He polishes in the light. So I'm gonna just let Him refine it, and then
Oh, that's good. What he refines in the dark, he polishes in the light. Oh, y'all too deep for me. I'm just Marty. Uh, I can't thank you both enough for sharing your wisdom. Listen, guys, we are so excited to have Alana and Gage with us tonight, who have shared, help, my child has a diagnosis. Now what? We don't want you to continue to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but we want you to definitely reach out to get the necessary help you need. Our children need us. So how do you get some mental health resources? Here's some that we definitely subscribe to. If you are in crisis, you can text crisis to 741-741. They have people there to support you. Myself, Gage, and Alana, I believe also, we are on Psychology Today. You can find us there. Also, therapyforblackmen.com. They still have scholarships for Black men who are in need of therapy. My profile is on there. Also, my profile is on Good Therapy, and you can also find therapists who look like you. You can screen them and see their profiles before you make that decision. Also, marcelconsulting.com. We would love to have you consider using us for your therapy choices. But we also have some merch. What do you mean? Yes, Daryl, can we do the merch? Let's talk about merch and our merchandise that we have. Yes, Stop the Stinking Thinking. That is our journal that we have for affirmations. And y'all, I promise you, I'm going to have the book out. It's in its final revisions no later than this summer. It's coming out finally. Stop the Stinking Thinking right here, because mental health matters with Marty. And also, Black Mental Health Matters. Black Men Matter. That is on our website. So please check out our website at www.mentalhealthmarty.com. And definitely, we want you to use those things to help you along this journey. Because in this journey called life, we don't want you to continue to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame. But like I say every week, we want you to speak up, speak out, so that you can live. And as always, to remember to enjoy your life. We'll see you next week, and we have another super show for you. Be safe. God bless.